Hello, and welcome to this journey of calmness and clarity. If you're here, chances are you've been searching for ways to feel more grounded, less stressed, and more connected to the beauty of life itself. This is the Mindful Zone, and today we're diving into something that might sound surprising at first: how embracing the idea of acting as if nothing matters can transform your life. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Doesn't everything matter? Shouldn't I care about my goals, relationships, responsibilities? And yes, those things do matter, but sometimes caring too much, holding on too tightly can weigh us down. It's like carrying an invisible backpack full of rocks everywhere you go. What if there was a way to lighten that load? Through the wisdom of Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness practices, we'll uncover tools to help you live more freely, joyfully, and fully present in each moment. Together, we'll explore how letting go, not of effort but of attachment, can open doors to deeper peace and fulfillment. Whether you're completely new to these ideas or already familiar with the concepts of mindfulness and non-attachment, this video is designed to meet you where you are. Think of it as a gentle guide walking alongside you as you navigate the terrain of your own mind and heart. So take a deep breath, let go of any tension, and allow yourself to simply be here with me. This isn't just another self-help lecture. It's an invitation to pause, reflect, and reconnect with what truly matters. Over the next 2 hours, we'll break this topic down into manageable pieces, exploring 10 key chapters that will give you practical insights and actionable steps to integrate into your daily life. We'll begin by unpacking what acting as if nothing matters really means, and trust me, it's not about indifference or apathy. Then we'll move into powerful practices like meditation, compassion, and navigating change without fear. Along the way, I'll share stories, exercises, and reflections to help you internalize these teachings in a way that feels personal and meaningful. So whether you're watching this after a long day, during your morning routine, or even while taking a quiet walk outside, know that you're exactly where you need to be. This space, the Mindful Zone, is one where curiosity meets kindness, where effort meets ease, and where transformation happens naturally, step by step. Before we dive in, I want to remind you that this process is yours to shape. There's no rush, no pressure to get it right. Just show up as you are with an open heart and a willingness to explore. That's all it takes. Are you ready? Let's begin. Chapter 1. What does act as if nothing matters really mean? When we say act as if nothing matters, it doesn't mean ignoring your responsibilities or being indifferent to the world around you. Instead, it's about shifting your perspective from seeing life as a series of heavy obligations to experiencing it as a flow of moments, each one precious in its own right. Let's unpack this idea together, because understanding it deeply can unlock so much freedom in your life. In Buddhism, this concept aligns closely with the teaching of non-attachment. Non-attachment doesn't mean not caring, it means releasing the need to control outcomes. When we cling too tightly to results, when we obsess over how things should turn out, we create suffering for ourselves. But when we act with intention, while letting go of attachment to the outcome, we find a profound sense of liberation. Think about it. How often do you feel stressed because you're trying to force things to happen? Maybe you're working hard toward a promotion, pouring all your energy into making someone love you back, or desperately hoping a project turns out perfectly. These desires aren't inherently bad, they're natural human impulses, but when they become rigid expectations, they start to weigh heavily on our hearts and minds. We lose sight of the joy in the journey and focus solely on the destination. The truth is, life unfolds in its own time and in its own way. No amount of worrying or controlling can change that. What we can control is how we respond to whatever arises. By practicing non-attachment, we learn to engage fully with the present moment, trusting that the future will take care of itself. Let me give you an example. Imagine planting a garden. You prepare the soil, sow the seeds, water them regularly, and provide sunlight. But once you've done everything within your power, you must wait. You can't pull the plants out of the ground to make them grow faster. All you can do is nurture them patiently and trust the process. Life works the same way. Sometimes the best thing we can do is plant the seeds of our intentions and then step back, allowing events to unfold naturally. This approach doesn't mean giving up or becoming passive. On the contrary, it invites us to act with greater clarity and purpose. When we release the grip of attachment, we free up mental and emotional space to focus on what truly matters, showing up authentically, doing our best, and enjoying the ride. Another way to think about this is through the lens of impermanence, a central tenet of Buddhist philosophy. Everything in life is constantly changing. Relationships evolve, seasons pass, challenges arise and fade away. Clinging to permanence creates unnecessary suffering, while accepting impermanence opens us to the richness of the present moment. For instance, have you ever found yourself reminiscing about the good old days, or wishing you could fast forward to a better time? Both nostalgia and anticipation pull us out of the now, leaving us disconnected from the beauty of the current moment. Practicing non-attachment helps us stay rooted in the here and now, appreciating life as it unfolds rather than longing for something else. Now let's bring this idea closer to home. Reflect for a moment on areas of your life where you might be holding on too tightly. Is it a relationship, a career goal, a creative project, or maybe your health? Whatever it is, ask yourself, am I attaching my happiness to a specific outcome? If the answer is yes, consider how you might shift your mindset. Instead of fixating on the result, try focusing on the process. Enjoy the small victories along the way. Celebrate the effort you're putting in regardless of external validation. Remember, acting as if nothing matters isn't about dismissing the importance of your actions. It's about detaching from the need for them to produce a particular outcome. When you embody this mindset, you give yourself permission to live more lightly, playfully, and authentically. To illustrate this further, let's look at a common scenario: public speaking. Many people dread speaking in front of others because they fear judgment or failure. They attach their self-worth to how well they perform. But imagine approaching the situation differently, or rather than worrying about impressing the audience, you decide to share your message with sincerity and vulnerability. You prepare thoroughly, but you also remind yourself that mistakes are part of being human. The result? You speak with confidence and authenticity, unburdened by the weight of perfectionism. This principle applies to countless aspects of life. Whether you're pursuing a dream, navigating a difficult conversation, or simply going about your daily routine, adopting a mindset of non-attachment allows you to engage wholeheartedly without being consumed by anxiety or fear. Let's delve deeper into why we struggle with non-attachment in the first place. Often our resistance stems from societal conditioning. From a young age, we're taught that success is measured by achievements, grades, promotions, awards, recognition. While striving for excellence isn't inherently harmful, tying our self-worth to these external markers sets us up for disappointment. When we fail to meet expectations, or even when we succeed but feel empty afterward, we realize that chasing outcomes rarely brings lasting fulfillment. Mindfulness offers a powerful antidote to this cycle. By training ourselves to observe thoughts and emotions without judgment, we begin to see them for what they are: transient experiences that come and go. For example, imagine feeling anxious before a big presentation. Instead of spiraling into panic, mindfulness teaches you to acknowledge the anxiety without identifying with it. You might say to yourself, there's anxiety again, that's okay. This simple act of observation creates distance between you and your thoughts, giving you the clarity to respond wisely instead of reacting impulsively. Over time, this practice builds resilience. You learn to navigate life's ups and downs with equanimity, knowing that no storm lasts forever. Even during challenging times, you can find moments of peace by staying grounded in the present moment. Now let's explore some practical ways to cultivate non-attachment in everyday life. One effective technique is setting intentions rather than goals. Goals tend to be outcome-oriented, We want to achieve X by Y date. Intentions, on the other hand, are more fluid and process-focused. For example, instead of saying, I want to lose 20 pounds in 3 months, you might set an intention to nourish your body with healthy food and movement. By focusing on the action rather than the result, you reduce pressure and increase enjoyment. Another powerful tool is gratitude. Gratitude shifts our attention from what's lacking to what's abundant in our lives. Each day, take a few minutes to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be monumental. Sometimes the smallest joys, like a warm cup of tea or a kind word from a stranger, carry the most meaning. Over time, this practice rewires your brain to notice the positives, fostering a sense of contentment regardless of external circumstances. Finally, let's talk about the role of compassion in non-attachment. It's easy to confuse non-attachment with indifference, but they're fundamentally different. Indifference involves shutting down emotionally, whereas non-attachment requires opening up with love and kindness. When you let go of attachment to outcomes, you create space to connect more deeply with others and with yourself. Compassion becomes the guiding force behind your actions, ensuring that you move through life with integrity and heart. To summarize, acting as if nothing matters isn't about detachment from life. It's about embracing it fully, with an open heart and a light spirit. It's about releasing the need to control every detail and trusting that life has its own wisdom. It's about finding joy in the process, not just the product. And most importantly, it's about freeing yourself from the burdens of expectation so you can live authentically and peacefully. Take a deep breath and carry this thought with you as we move forward. Acting as if nothing matters isn't a call to apathy. It's an invitation to live more fully, more freely, and more joyfully. In the chapters ahead, we'll continue exploring how Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness can help you integrate this mindset into every aspect of your life. Until then, remember, every moment is an opportunity to let go and embrace the beauty of now. Chapter 2: The Power of Letting Go. One of the most liberating lessons of Buddhism, and one that can profoundly transform your life, is learning how to let go. Now, when I say letting go, I'm not talking about abandoning responsibilities, neglecting relationships, or ignoring challenges. Instead, letting go is about releasing the mental and emotional burdens that weigh us down unnecessarily. It's about freeing ourselves from the grip of past regrets, future anxieties, and the relentless need to control every detail of our lives. To truly understand the power of letting go, we must first recognize what we're holding on to in the first place. For many of us, it's the stories we tell ourselves, the narratives of failure, inadequacy, or disappointment. These stories replay endlessly in our minds, shaping how we see ourselves and the world around us. But here's the truth: these stories are not facts. They're constructs created by our thoughts. And just like clouds passing across the sky, they don't define who we are unless we allow them to. Letting go starts with awareness. Mindfulness teaches us to observe our thoughts without judgment. Imagine sitting quietly, watching your mind as if it were a movie screen. Thoughts arise. You might notice frustration about a missed deadline, worry about an upcoming meeting, or guilt over something you said last week. But instead of diving headfirst into those emotions, mindfulness invites you to simply acknowledge them. You might say to yourself, there's frustration again, or, oh, here comes anxiety. By naming these feelings, you create distance between yourself and your thoughts, reducing their intensity and making them easier to manage. This practice of observation is incredibly powerful because it shifts your relationship with your thoughts. Instead of being swept away by them, you begin to see them for what they are, fleeting experiences that come and go. Over time, this realization lightens the load on your mind, allowing you to move through life with greater ease. Let's explore why letting go feels so hard for so many people. One reason is fear. Fear of uncertainty, fear of loss, fear of change. When we cling to familiar patterns, even if they're painful or unproductive, we do so because they feel safe. We know what to expect, even if what we expect isn't good. Breaking free from these patterns requires courage, but the rewards are worth it. By letting go, we open ourselves to new possibilities, fresh perspectives, and deeper connections. Another barrier to letting go is cultural conditioning. From a young age, we're taught to value achievement, productivity, and success. While striving for excellence isn't inherently harmful, tying our self-worth to external markers sets us up for disappointment. When we fail to meet expectations, or even when we succeed but feel empty afterward, we realize that chasing outcomes rarely brings lasting fulfillment. Mindfulness offers a powerful antidote to this cycle. By training ourselves to observe thoughts and emotions without judgment, we begin to see them for what they are, transient experiences that come and go. For example, imagine feeling anxious before a big presentation. Instead of spiraling into panic, mindfulness teaches you to acknowledge the anxiety without identifying with it. You might say to yourself, there's anxiety again, that's okay. This simple act of observation creates distance between you and your thoughts, giving you the clarity to respond wisely instead of reacting impulsively. Over time, this practice builds resilience. You learn to navigate life's ups and downs with equanimity, knowing that no storm lasts forever. Even during challenging times, you can find moments of peace by staying grounded in the present moment. Now let's talk about practical ways to cultivate the art of letting go in everyday life. One effective technique is journaling. Writing down your thoughts can help you process them more clearly and identify patterns that may be holding you back. Try setting aside 10 minutes each day to write freely without editing yourself. Don't worry about grammar or structure. Just let your thoughts flow onto the page. As you review what you've written, look for recurring themes or limiting beliefs. Then ask yourself, is this thought serving me? If not, can I choose to let it go? Another powerful tool is breath work. Your breath is always with you no matter where you are or what you're doing. By focusing on your breath, you anchor yourself in the present moment, creating a sense of calm and stability. A simple exercise is to inhale deeply for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, and exhale slowly for 6 counts. Repeat this cycle several times, paying close attention to how your body feels with each breath. Notice any tension melting away as you exhale. With regular practice, this technique can become a lifeline during stressful situations. Gratitude also plays a crucial role in letting go. When we focus on what we lack, we reinforce feelings of scarcity and dissatisfaction. Gratitude shifts our attention to what's abundant in our lives, fostering a sense of contentment regardless of external circumstances. Each day, take a few minutes to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be monumental. Sometimes the smallest joys, like a warm cup of tea or a kind word from a stranger, carry the most meaning. Over time, this practice rewires your brain to notice the positives, softening the grip of negativity bias. Compassion is another essential component of letting go. It's easy to confuse non-attachment with indifference, but they're fundamentally different. Indifference involves shutting down emotionally, whereas non-attachment requires opening up with love and kindness. When you let go of attachment to outcomes, you create space to connect more deeply with others and with yourself. Compassion becomes the guiding force behind your actions, ensuring that you move through life with integrity and heart. Let me share a personal story to illustrate this point. A few years ago, I found myself obsessing over a project at work. I had poured countless hours into it, determined to make it perfect. But the closer I got to the deadline, the more stressed and dissatisfied I felt. No matter how much effort I put in, it never seemed good enough. Finally, a friend suggested I try approaching the project differently, not as something I had to get right, but as an opportunity to express creativity and passion. By shifting my mindset from attachment to appreciation, I was able to relax and enjoy the process. Ironically, the end result turned out better than I could have imagined, not because I forced it, but because I allowed it to unfold naturally. This experience taught me that letting go doesn't mean lowering your standards or giving up on your dreams. On the contrary, it empowers you to pursue them with greater authenticity and joy. When you release the pressure to control every detail, you tap into a deeper source of inspiration, one that flows effortlessly and organically. Now, let's address a common misconception about letting go, that it's passive or weak. In reality, letting go takes immense strength and courage. It means facing uncomfortable truths, embracing vulnerability, and trusting that life will support you even when you can't see the full picture. It means choosing faith over fear, presence over distraction, and love over judgment. As we continue exploring the power of letting go, keep asking yourself, what am I holding on to that no longer serves me? How can I create space for growth, healing, and transformation? Remember, letting go isn't a one-time event, it's an ongoing practice. Each time you release something unnecessary, you make room for something meaningful. Take a deep breath, and feel the weight lifting off your shoulders. Letting go is not about losing control, it's about reclaiming your freedom. It's about stepping into the unknown with an open heart and a curious mind. And most importantly, it's about trusting that you already have everything you need to live a rich, fulfilling life. In the chapters ahead, we'll delve further into how meditation, mindfulness, and compassion can deepen your ability to let go and live fully. Until then, remember, every moment is an invitation to release what holds you back and embrace the beauty of now. Chapter 3: The Role of Meditation in Daily Life. Meditation is often misunderstood as something reserved for monks, spiritual gurus, or people who have hours to spare each day. But the truth is, meditation isn't about escaping life. It's about engaging with it more deeply. It's a practice that anyone can incorporate into their daily routine, regardless of how busy or chaotic life may seem. And when done consistently, even in small doses, it has the power to transform your mind, your emotions, and your entire outlook on life. Before we dive deeper, let's clarify what meditation actually is and what it isn't. Meditation isn't about stopping your thoughts or achieving some mystical state of enlightenment. That's a common misconception that discourages many beginners. Instead, meditation is about training your attention. It's about learning to observe your thoughts, feelings, and sensations without getting swept away by them. Over time, this practice strengthens your ability to stay present, calm, and centered, no matter what's happening around you. Think of your mind as a river. Sometimes the water flows smoothly and peacefully, but other times it churns with turbulence, waves crashing, currents pulling you under. Meditation teaches you how to sit at the riverbank, watching the water pass by without being dragged into its chaos. You don't try to stop the flow, you simply observe it. This shift in perspective changes everything. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by your thoughts and emotions, you begin to see them as temporary phenomena that don't define who you are. Now let's talk about why meditation matters so much in daily life. In today's fast-paced world, most of us operate on autopilot. We rush from one task to the next, consumed by deadlines, distractions, and endless to-do lists. Rarely do we pause to check in with ourselves, to ask how we're really feeling, what we truly need, or whether we're living in alignment with our values. Meditation provides that pause. It creates space for reflection, self-awareness, and intentional action. One of the greatest gifts of meditation is its ability to reduce stress. When you meditate, your body activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the part responsible for rest and relaxation. Your heart rate slows, your breathing deepens, and your muscles release tension. Even just 5 minutes of focused breathing can lower cortisol levels, improve mood, and boost overall well-being. Imagine starting your day with this sense of calm instead of rushing headlong into stress. How might that change the way you approach challenges? Let's explore some practical ways to integrate meditation into your daily life. Contrary to popular belief, you don't need to set aside an hour each morning to meditate effectively. Even short sessions can yield profound benefits. Begin with just 3 to 5 minutes a day. Find a quiet spot where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably, no need for fancy cushions or cross-legged poses, and close your eyes. Focus on your breath, noticing how it feels to inhale deeply, hold for a moment, and exhale slowly. If your mind wanders, and it will, that's perfectly okay. Gently guide your attention back to your breath without judgment. Over time, you'll notice that these brief moments of stillness ripple outward, influencing how you show up in every area of your life. Another accessible form of meditation is mindfulness meditation. Unlike traditional seated meditation, which often involves focusing solely on the breath, mindfulness meditation encourages you to bring awareness to whatever you're doing in the present moment. For example, while sipping your morning coffee, pay attention to the aroma, the warmth of the mug in your hands, the taste of each sip. By fully immersing yourself in the experience, you cultivate gratitude and appreciation for the simple pleasures of life. Similarly, mindful walking transforms an ordinary stroll into a meditative practice. As you walk, notice the sensation of your feet touching the ground, the rhythm of your steps, the sounds and sights around you. These small acts of presence add up, creating a foundation of mindfulness that supports you throughout the day. For those seeking structure, guided meditations can be incredibly helpful. There are countless apps, podcasts, and online resources offering guided sessions tailored to specific needs, whether it's reducing anxiety, improving sleep, cultivating compassion, or simply finding peace amidst chaos. Listening to a soothing voice guide you through visualization exercises or breathing techniques can make meditation feel less intimidating and more accessible. Over time, you may find yourself naturally transitioning to unguided practices, using the tools you've learned to meditate independently. Now, let's address a common concern. What if I can't quiet my mind? Many people hesitate to start meditating because they assume their minds must be completely silent, a standard that's neither realistic nor necessary. The goal of meditation isn't to eliminate thoughts, it's to develop a healthier relationship with them. Each time you notice your mind wandering and gently bring your focus back to your breath, you're strengthening your mental muscle. Just like physical exercise, progress takes time and consistency. Be patient with yourself and celebrate every effort, no matter how small. Beyond stress reduction, meditation offers numerous other benefits. Scientific studies have shown that regular meditation enhances focus, improves memory, boosts creativity, and fosters emotional resilience. It also promotes better sleep, reduces symptoms of depression and anxiety, and even strengthens the immune system. On a deeper level, meditation helps you connect with your inner wisdom, the part of you that knows instinctively what's best for your growth and happiness. When you quiet the noise of external pressures and internal chatter, you create space to hear this inner voice clearly. Let me share a story to illustrate the transformative power of meditation. A few years ago, I worked with a client named Sarah who struggled with chronic overwhelm. Between her demanding job, family responsibilities, and personal aspirations, she felt stretched thin and constantly on edge. One day during a coaching session, I suggested she try meditating for just 5 minutes a day. Skeptical but willing to give it a shot, Sarah committed to the experiment. At first, she found it challenging to sit still and focus on her breath. Her mind raced with worries and to-do lists, and she doubted whether meditation could really help. But she persisted, gradually increasing her practice to 10 minutes, then 15. Within weeks, she noticed subtle shifts. She felt calmer, more grounded, and better equipped to handle stress. By the end of 3 months, Sarah reported feeling like a completely different person. She described her mind as clearer, her emotions as more balanced, and her relationships as richer and more fulfilling. Meditation didn't solve all her problems overnight, but it gave her the tools to navigate them with grace and ease. Sarah's journey highlights an important truth. Meditation isn't magic, it's practice. Like any skill, it requires dedication and patience, but the rewards are worth it. Every moment spent in stillness plants seeds of transformation that blossom over time. Now, let's discuss how meditation intersects with the concept of non-attachment we explored earlier. When you meditate, you learn to observe your thoughts and emotions without clinging to them. This detachment allows you to respond to life's challenges with greater clarity and compassion. For instance, imagine encountering criticism at work. Without a meditation practice, you might react defensively, letting hurt feelings dictate your behavior. But with meditation, you develop the capacity to pause, breathe, and choose a thoughtful response rather than an impulsive reaction. This ability to pause is invaluable. It gives you the power to navigate conflict constructively and maintain harmony in your relationships. Meditation also helps you embrace impermanence, another cornerstone of Buddhist philosophy. Everything in life is transient. Moments of joy, periods of struggle, seasons of growth, and phases of rest. By meditating regularly, you train yourself to accept this reality with equanimity. Instead of resisting change, you learn to flow with it, trusting that each phase serves a purpose in your journey. This acceptance brings immense peace, freeing you from the futile attempt to control the uncontrollable. Finally, let's talk about integrating meditation into your daily life in creative ways. While formal seated meditation is powerful, informal practices can be equally impactful. Try incorporating mindfulness into routine activities like brushing your teeth, washing dishes, or commuting. Pay attention to the sensations, movements, and details involved in these tasks. Notice how grounding it feels to anchor yourself in the present moment, even during mundane chores. Another option is to use reminders throughout the day to pause and reconnect with your breath. Set alarms on your phone labeled "breathe" or place sticky notes with affirmations like "stay present" in visible spots. These gentle nudges can help you maintain mindfulness even in the midst of a hectic schedule. To summarize, meditation is not a luxury. It's a necessity for modern living. It's a tool that empowers you to navigate life's complexities with poise and purpose. Whether you're seeking relief from stress, deeper connection with yourself, or a greater sense of meaning, meditation has something to offer. The key is to start small, stay consistent, and trust the process. Take a deep breath and feel the stillness within you. Meditation isn't about becoming someone else. It's about discovering who you already are beneath the noise. As we continue exploring the interplay between Buddhism, mindfulness, and daily life, keep returning to this practice as a source of strength and clarity. Until then, remember, every breath is an opportunity to come home to yourself. Chapter 4. Finding Joy in Simplicity. In our modern world, we're constantly bombarded with messages telling us that happiness comes from having more money, more possessions, more achievements, more followers on social media. We're led to believe that complexity equals success, and that simplicity is somehow inferior. But what if the opposite were true? What if the secret to lasting joy isn't found in accumulation, but in simplification? Finding joy in simplicity is one of the most profound lessons offered by Buddhism, mindfulness, and mindful living. It's about stripping away the unnecessary layers of distraction, clutter, and noise to reveal the essence of what truly matters. When we simplify our lives, we create space for clarity, peace, and genuine connection. And contrary to popular belief, this doesn't mean giving up everything you love or retreating into isolation. Instead, it's about making intentional choices that align with your values and bring you closer to what fulfills you. To understand why simplicity holds such power, let's first examine the cost of excess. Living in a state of constant busyness and overconsumption takes its toll, not just on our physical health, but on our mental and emotional well-being too. Think about how many items you own that you rarely use, how many commitments you've made out of obligation rather than desire, or how much time you spend scrolling through endless streams of information online. Each of these things fragments your attention, saps your energy, and leaves you feeling scattered and unfulfilled. Simplicity invites you to reverse this trend. By focusing on fewer, higher quality experiences and possessions, you reclaim your time, energy, and attention. You begin to notice the beauty in the ordinary, the warmth of sunlight streaming through a window, the sound of birds chirping outside, the comfort of a cozy blanket. These small joys become magnified when they're not overshadowed by clutter and chaos. Let's delve deeper into practical ways to embrace simplicity in your daily life. One of the most impactful steps is decluttering. Not just your physical space, but also your digital environment and mental landscape. Start with something tangible like your home or workspace. Go room by room asking yourself, does this item spark joy? Is it useful or meaningful? If the answer is no, consider letting it go. Donate clothes you no longer wear, recycle papers you don't need, and organize your belongings so they're easy to access and maintain. The act of decluttering itself can be incredibly therapeutic. It's like clearing cobwebs from your mind, leaving you feeling lighter and freer. Next, turn your focus to your digital life. How many apps, emails, notifications, and subscriptions are competing for your attention every day? Simplify by unsubscribing from newsletters you never read, deleting unused apps, and setting boundaries around screen time. Create designated periods for checking messages or browsing social media and stick to them. This discipline reduces overwhelm and helps you stay present in the real world rather than getting lost in the virtual one. Now let's talk about simplifying your schedule. Many of us overcommit because we want to please others or fear missing out. But saying yes to everything often means saying no to what truly matters: your health, relationships, passions, and peace of mind. To simplify your calendar, prioritize activities that align with your core values. Say no to invitations or tasks that drain you without guilt. Instead, make room for those that energize and inspire you. Remember, every no is an opportunity to say yes to something better. Another aspect of simplicity is cultivating gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's abundant in your life. Each day, take a few minutes to reflect on 3 things you appreciate. They don't have to be grand gestures. Sometimes the smallest blessings, like a warm meal, a kind word, or a quiet moment alone, carry the most meaning. Over time, this practice rewires your brain to notice the positives, fostering a sense of contentment regardless of external circumstances. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in finding joy in simplicity. When you slow down and pay attention to the present moment, you discover richness in even the simplest activities. For example, imagine eating a piece of fruit. Instead of rushing through it while multitasking, savor each bite. Notice the texture, the flavor, the aroma. Feel the juice on your tongue and the crunch between your teeth. By fully immersing yourself in the experience, you transform an ordinary snack into a moment of delight. Similarly, mindful walking turns a routine stroll into a meditative practice. Focus on the sensation of your feet touching the ground, the rhythm of your steps, the sights and sounds around you. These small acts of presence add up, creating a foundation of mindfulness that supports you throughout the day. Let me share a story to illustrate the transformative power of simplicity. A friend of mine named Emily was overwhelmed by her fast-paced lifestyle. She juggled a demanding job, a packed social calendar, and endless household chores, leaving little time for herself. Despite her accomplishments, she felt perpetually stressed and disconnected from her own needs. One day, during a particularly chaotic week, she decided to try something radical. She cancelled all non-essential plans, turned off her phone, and spent the weekend at home doing nothing but resting and reflecting. At first, the silence felt uncomfortable. She wasn't used to being alone with her thoughts. But as the hours passed, she began to relax. She read books she'd been meaning to finish, cooked meals from scratch, and simply sat outside watching the clouds drift by. By the end of the weekend, Emily felt rejuvenated and clear-headed. She realized that her happiness didn't depend on external validation or constant activity. It stemmed from inner peace and alignment with her true priorities. Emily's story underscores an important truth. Simplicity isn't deprivation, it's liberation. It's about choosing quality over quantity, depth over breadth, and authenticity over appearances. When you simplify your life, you give yourself permission to slow down, breathe deeply, and savor the richness of the present moment. Now let's explore how simplicity intersects with the concept of non-attachment we discussed earlier. Non-attachment teaches us to release the need to control outcomes and let go of rigid expectations. Simplicity reinforces this principle by encouraging us to focus on what we can influence, our mindset, actions, and environment, rather than obsessing over external factors beyond our control. For instance, instead of striving for perfection in every area of your life, aim for progress in the areas that matter most. Let go of the pressure to excel at everything and allow yourself to be human, with flaws, limitations, and imperfections. This acceptance creates space for creativity, spontaneity, and joy. Simplicity also fosters compassion for yourself and others. When you stop comparing your life to curated highlight reels on social media or societal standards of success, you begin to see people as they truly are, imperfect, vulnerable, and worthy of love. This perspective softens your heart and opens you to deeper connections. You learn to celebrate small victories, offer support without judgment, and cherish moments of shared humanity. Finally, let's discuss how simplicity enhances resilience. Life is unpredictable and challenges are inevitable. But when you live simply, you build a strong foundation that helps you weather storms with grace. With fewer distractions and commitments, you're better equipped to adapt to change, solve problems creatively, and maintain balance. Simplicity gives you the flexibility to pivot when necessary and the strength to persevere when times get tough. To summarize, finding joy in simplicity is about returning to the basics, prioritizing what nourishes your soul and letting go of what weighs you down. It's about creating a life that feels spacious, meaningful, and aligned with your true self. Whether you're decluttering your home, simplifying your schedule, or practicing gratitude, each step brings you closer to a state of ease and fulfillment. Take a deep breath and feel the lightness that comes with embracing simplicity. Remember, happiness isn't found in chasing more, it's discovered in appreciating less. In the chapters ahead, we'll continue exploring how mindfulness, compassion, and intentional living can deepen your connection to joy and purpose. Until then, remember, every moment is an opportunity to simplify and savor the beauty of now. Chapter 5. Dealing with stress through the mindfulness. Stress is an inevitable part of life, whether it's caused by deadlines at work, relationship challenges, financial pressures, or health concerns. Stress has a way of creeping into our lives and taking hold. But here's the good news. While we may not be able to eliminate stress entirely, we can change how we respond to it. And mindfulness is one of the most powerful tools for doing just that. Mindfulness doesn't promise to make your problems disappear overnight. Instead, it equips you with the skills to navigate stress with greater calm, clarity, and resilience. By training yourself to stay present in the moment, you learn to face difficulties without being overwhelmed by them. You begin to see stress not as an enemy, but as a teacher, an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more compassionate toward yourself and others. Before we dive deeper, let's clarify what mindfulness really means in the context of stress management. At its core, mindfulness is about paying attention on purpose in the present moment and without judgment. It's about noticing what's happening inside you, your thoughts, emotions, physical sensations, and around you, the sights, sounds, smells, without trying to change or avoid anything. This awareness creates a buffer between you and your stresses, giving you the space to choose how to respond rather than react impulsively. Now, why does mindfulness work so well for managing stress? The answer lies in its ability to rewire your brain. Chronic stress activates the amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for detecting threats and triggering the fight or flight response. Over time, this can lead to heightened anxiety, irritability, fatigue, and even burnout. Mindfulness practices, such as meditation and mindful breathing, activate the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain associated with rational thinking, emotional regulation, and decision-making. As you practice mindfulness regularly, you strengthen these neural pathways, making it easier to stay calm and focused under pressure. Let's explore some practical techniques for using mindfulness to deal with stress. One of the simplest yet most effective methods is mindful breathing. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, pause and take 3 deep breaths. Inhale slowly through your nose, feeling your belly expand. Hold for a moment, and exhale gently through your mouth. Repeat this cycle several times, focusing all your attention on the sensation of your breath moving in and out of your body. This exercise calms your nervous system, lowers your heart rate, and clears your mind, allowing you to approach the situation with renewed perspective. Another helpful tool is the body scan meditation. This practice involves systematically bringing your attention to different parts of your body, starting from your toes and working your way up to the top of your head. As you focus on each area, notice any tension, discomfort, or sensations without trying to fix them. Simply observe and acknowledge what you're feeling. Over time, this technique helps you release stored stress and reconnect with your physical self, promoting relaxation and healing. For those who struggle with racing thoughts or intrusive worries, labeling emotions can be incredibly grounding. Whenever you notice a strong emotion arising, whether it's anger, fear, sadness, or frustration, name it silently to yourself. For example, you might say, "This is anxiety," or "Here comes frustration." By putting words to your feelings, you create distance between yourself and the emotion, reducing its intensity and gaining clarity about what's really going on. Now let's talk about how mindfulness helps you break free from the cycle of rumination, a common habit that exacerbates stress. Ruminating involves replaying negative thoughts or scenarios over and over in your mind, often without resolution. While it may feel productive in the moment, rumination actually increases stress and drains your energy. Mindfulness interrupts this pattern by anchoring you in the present moment. When you catch yourself spiraling into repetitive thinking, gently redirect your attention to something concrete and immediate: your breath, the sound of rain outside, the sensation of your feet touching the floor. Each time you do this, you weaken the grip of rumination and build resilience against future episodes. Let me share a personal story to illustrate the transformative power of mindfulness in dealing with stress. A few years ago, I found myself overwhelmed by a particularly challenging phase in my career. I was juggling multiple projects, facing tight deadlines, and receiving conflicting feedback from colleagues. My stress levels were through the roof, and I felt like I was drowning. One day, a mentor suggested I try incorporating mindfulness into my daily routine. Skeptical but desperate for relief, I committed to a simple practice, taking 5 minutes each morning to sit quietly and focus on my breath. At first, it felt awkward. I couldn't sit still, my mind raced, and I doubted whether it would help, but I persisted, gradually increasing my practice to 10 minutes, then 15. Within weeks, I noticed subtle shifts. I felt calmer, more centered, and better equipped to handle stress. By the end of 3 months, I reported feeling like a completely different person. I described my mind as clearer, my emotions as more balanced, and my relationships as richer and more fulfilling. Mindfulness didn't solve all my problems overnight, but it gave me the tools to navigate them with grace and ease. This experience highlights an important truth. Mindfulness isn't magic, it's practice. Like any skill, it requires dedication and patience, but the rewards are worth it. Every moment spent in stillness plants seeds of transformation that blossom over time. Now let's address a common concern. What if I don't have time for mindfulness? Many people hesitate to start because they assume it requires hours of meditation or elaborate rituals. In reality, mindfulness can be woven seamlessly into your daily life. Try incorporating short, mindful pauses throughout your day, for example, before starting a meeting, after finishing a task, or while waiting in line. Use these moments to check in with yourself, take a few deep breaths, and reset your focus. Another option is to pair mindfulness with routine activities, such as eating, walking, or brushing your teeth. Pay close attention to the sensations, movements, and details involved in these tasks. Notice how grounding it feels to anchor yourself in the present moment, even during mundane chores. Mindfulness also teaches you to embrace imperfection, a crucial mindset for managing stress. Perfectionism often fuels stress by setting unrealistic standards and fostering self-criticism. When you adopt a mindful approach, you learn to accept yourself and your circumstances as they are, without judgment. This acceptance doesn't mean giving up on growth or improvement. It means recognizing that progress takes time and that mistakes are part of the journey. By letting go of the need to be perfect, you reduce unnecessary pressure and cultivate self-compassion. Another key aspect of mindfulness is learning to differentiate between solvable and unsolvable stressors. Solvable stressors are problems you can address directly, finishing a project, resolving a conflict, or improving a skill. Unsolved stressors, on the other hand, are situations beyond your control, unexpected setbacks, natural disasters, or other people's behavior. Mindfulness helps you identify which category a stressor falls into and respond accordingly. For solvable issues, take action steps to resolve them. For unsolvable ones, practice acceptance and focus on what you can influence, your attitude, perspective, and coping strategies. Let's discuss how mindfulness fosters gratitude, another powerful antidote to stress. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's abundant in your life. Each day, take a few minutes to reflect on 3 things you appreciate. They don't have to be monumental. Sometimes the smallest blessings, like a warm meal, a kind word, or a quiet moment alone, carry the most meaning. Over time, this practice rewires your brain to notice the positives, softening the grip of negativity bias. Finally, let's talk about the role of community in mindfulness-based stress reduction. While mindfulness is often practiced individually, sharing the experience with others can amplify its benefits. Consider joining a meditation group, attending a mindfulness workshop, or simply discussing your journey with friends and family. Connecting with like-minded individuals provides support, accountability, and inspiration, helping you stay committed to your practice. To summarize, mindfulness is a game changer when it comes to managing stress. It empowers you to face challenges with greater calm, clarity, and compassion. Whether you're using mindful breathing, body scans, or gratitude exercises, each technique builds resilience and enhances your well-being. The key is to start small, stay consistent, and trust the process. Take a deep breath and feel the weight lifting off your shoulders. Stress will always be a part of life, but mindfulness gives you the tools to rise above it as we continue exploring the interplay between Buddhism, mindfulness, and daily life. Keep returning to these practices as sources of strength and serenity. Until then, remember, every breath is an opportunity to find peace amidst the chaos. Chapter 6. Cultivating compassion for yourself and others. Compassion is one of the most transformative forces we can cultivate, not just for others, but also for ourselves. Yet many of us struggle to extend kindness inwardly, often holding ourselves to impossibly high standards. In this chapter, we'll explore how compassion serves as a bridge between mindfulness and meaningful connection, enriching both our inner world and our relationships with those around us. At the heart of Buddhist practice lies the concept of metta, or loving-kindness meditation. This ancient technique involves directing well wishes toward ourselves, loved ones, acquaintances, and even those who challenge us. It's a powerful way to soften the edges of our hearts, fostering a sense of universal goodwill. But before we can offer compassion to others, we must first learn to give it to ourselves, a step that often feels counterintuitive in a culture that glorifies self-criticism. Why is self-compassion so important? because how we treat ourselves shapes how we show up in the world. If you're constantly berating yourself for mistakes or comparing yourself unfavorably to others, you create an internal environment of tension and negativity. This not only affects your mental health but also spills over into your interactions with others. On the other hand, when you approach yourself with gentleness and understanding, you naturally radiate warmth and patience outward. So, how do we begin cultivating self-compassion? Start by noticing your inner dialogue. Are you speaking to yourself with the same care and encouragement you'd offer a close friend? Or are you quick to judge, criticize, or dismiss your efforts? Awareness is the first step. Once you become conscious of these patterns, you can start to shift them. For instance, instead of saying, "I'm such a failure," try reframing it as, "I'm doing my best and that's enough." Simple shifts like this can make a profound difference over time. Another effective practice is placing a hand on your heart during moments of distress. This physical gesture sends a signal to your brain that you are safe and supported, helping to calm feelings of anxiety or self-doubt. Pair this with affirmations like, "May I be kind to myself," or "May I accept myself as I am," and watch how your relationship with yourself begins to transform. Once you've established a foundation of self-compassion, you can expand your circle of care to include others. Loving kindness meditation is a beautiful tool for this purpose. To practice, find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and take a few deep breaths. Then silently repeat phrases like, "May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I live with ease." After directing these wishes toward yourself, gradually extend them to others, first to someone you love deeply, then to a neutral person, and finally to someone who has caused you difficulty. While it may feel challenging at first, especially with the last group, remember that compassion isn't about condoning harmful behavior. It's about recognizing our shared humanity. The ripple effects of compassion are extraordinary. When you genuinely wish for another person's happiness, regardless of their actions, you disrupt cycles of resentment and conflict. You also open yourself up to deeper connections as people intuitively respond to kindness. Over time, this practice helps dissolve barriers between us and them, fostering a sense of unity and belonging. But compassion doesn't stop at meditation, it extends into everyday life. Look for opportunities to act with kindness, no matter how small. Hold the door for a stranger. Offer a listening ear to a friend in need. Smile at someone who looks like they could use a boost. These seemingly insignificant gestures have the power to brighten someone's day, and yours as well. It's worth noting that compassion doesn't mean being a pushover or ignoring boundaries. True compassion requires discernment. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is set limits or speak your truth, even if it's uncomfortable. The key is to approach these situations with empathy rather than hostility, seeking solutions that honor everyone involved. One misconception about compassion is that it depletes our energy. In reality, research shows that compassionate actions activate areas of the brain associated with joy and fulfillment. Helping others not only strengthens social bonds but also enhances our own well-being. It's a win-win scenario that reminds us we're all interconnected. As you work on cultivating compassion, be patient with yourself. Like any skill, it takes practice. There will be days when you falter, when frustration gets the better joy or annoyance overshadow kindness. That's okay. What matters is your intention, the willingness to keep trying, to keep opening your heart. Let's take a moment now to reflect on someone in your life who could benefit from your compassion. Maybe it's a colleague dealing with stress, a family member going through a tough time, or even a stranger you encountered today. Picture them in your mind and silently send them wishes of peace, health, and happiness. Notice how this simple act softens your own heart and connects you more deeply to the human experience. Remember, compassion isn't something you either have or lack. It's a muscle you build over time. With each act of kindness, each moment of understanding, you strengthen your capacity to love and be loved. And in doing so, you contribute to a world that desperately needs more tenderness and grace. In the next chapter, we'll explore how living in alignment with your values can further enhance your sense of purpose and fulfillment. Until then, carry this spirit of compassion with you. Let it guide your thoughts, words, and actions, creating ripples of positivity wherever you go. Chapter 7. Living in alignment with your values. Living in alignment with your values is one of the most powerful ways to reduce inner conflict and create a life that feels deeply fulfilling. Yet many of us drift through our days without ever stopping to ask ourselves what truly matters to us. We get caught up in societal expectations, external pressures, or outdated beliefs, leaving us feeling disconnected from our authentic selves. In this chapter, we'll explore how identifying and honoring your core values can transform your life, and how mindfulness can help you stay grounded in those principles. To live authentically means to act in harmony with who you are at your core. It's about making choices that reflect your deepest priorities, rather than succumbing to the noise of what others think you should do. When your actions align with your values, you experience a profound sense of integrity and purpose. On the flip side, when there's a mismatch between what you believe and how you behave, it creates tension, what psychologists call cognitive dissonance. This internal friction can manifest as stress, guilt, or even burnout. Over time, living out of alignment with your values can lead to feelings of emptiness, resentment, or dissatisfaction, no matter how much external success you achieve. So, how do you begin uncovering your values? Start by reflecting on moments when you felt most alive, inspired, or fulfilled. What were you doing? Who were you with? What qualities made those experiences meaningful? These clues point toward your core values, the guiding principles that give your life direction and meaning. For example, if you feel energized when helping others, service might be one of your values. If you thrive in creative environments, self-expression could be central to your identity. Other common values include honesty, growth, connection, freedom, balance, and adventure. There's no right or wrong answer here. What matters is that these values resonate deeply with you. Once you've identified your values, write them down. Seeing them in black and white makes them tangible and easier to reference. Keep this list somewhere visible, a journal, your phone, or even a sticky note on your mirror. Having a constant reminder ensures you stay connected to what truly matters, especially during challenging times. Writing your values down also helps solidify your commitment to them. It transforms abstract ideas into concrete guidelines for living. But knowing your values is only half the equation. The real work lies in integrating them into your daily life. This requires mindfulness, the ability to pause and check in with yourself regularly. Ask questions like, does this decision honor my values? Am I spending time on things that matter to me? How can I adjust my habits to better reflect what I stand for? Mindfulness allows you to catch yourself when you're veering off course and gently steer back toward alignment. Let's take an example. Imagine one of your core values is health. You might start by examining your current lifestyle. Are you prioritizing nutritious food, regular exercise, and adequate rest? If not, consider small changes you can make to bring your actions into alignment. Maybe it's swapping sugary snacks for fruits, taking a 10-minute walk each day, or setting boundaries around screen time before bed. Over time, these incremental shifts compound, creating lasting impact. By consistently choosing behaviors that support your values, you reinforce your commitment to living authentically. Now let's talk about relationships. Our connections with others often reveal whether we're living authentically. Do the people in your life support your values, or do they pull you away from them? For instance, if community is important to you, surround yourself with individuals who share that value. Conversely, if certain relationships consistently undermine your sense of self, it may be time to reassess their role in your life. Setting healthy boundaries isn't selfish, it's essential for staying true to who you are. Boundaries allow you to protect your energy and ensure that your interactions align with your values. Of course, living in alignment with your values doesn't mean everything will always go smoothly. Life is unpredictable and challenges are inevitable. But when you face adversity, your values serve as a compass, guiding you back to what matters most. They provide stability during turbulent times, reminding you why you started and helping you navigate difficult decisions. Consider someone whose value is lifelong learning, even in the face of setbacks, like failing an exam or struggling to master a new skill. They can draw strength from their commitment to growth. Instead of seeing failure as a dead end, they view it as part of the journey, reinforcing their dedication to personal development. Another aspect of living authentically is embracing imperfection. Too often, we hold ourselves to unrealistic standards, believing we must embody our values perfectly all the time. But authenticity isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's okay to stumble, to have moments of doubt or inconsistency. What counts is your willingness to course correct and continue striving toward alignment. Mindfulness practices can be incredibly helpful here. Meditation, for instance, allows you to observe your thoughts and behaviors without judgment. Through this awareness, you can spot areas where you're falling out of sync with your values and gently steer yourself back on track. Journaling is another valuable tool. Writing about your experiences helps clarify what's working and what needs adjustment, providing insight into how well you're living in accordance with your beliefs. It's also important to recognize that your values may evolve over time, and that's perfectly natural. As you grow and gain new experiences, your understanding of what matters most may shift. Periodically revisiting your list ensures it remains relevant to your current stage of life. Perhaps family was once your top priority, but now creativity has taken center stage. That's okay. The goal isn't to cling rigidly to a fixed set of ideals, but to remain flexible and responsive to your changing needs. Flexibility allows you to adapt while still staying rooted in your core principles. One common obstacle to living authentically is fear. Fear of rejection, failure, or stepping outside societal norms. These fears can keep us trapped in lives that don't reflect who we truly are. But remember, authenticity is courageous. It takes bravery to honor your truth, especially when it goes against the grain. Trust that the more aligned you become with your values, the more fulfilled and resilient you'll feel. Each step toward authenticity strengthens your sense of self and reinforces your ability to navigate life with clarity and confidence. To illustrate this point, think about someone who values independence but feels stuck in a job that stifles their autonomy. Initially, pursuing a career change might seem daunting, fraught with uncertainty and risk. However, by taking small, intentional steps, updating their resume, networking, exploring alternative paths, they gradually move closer to a life that honors their desire for freedom. Each step builds confidence, proving that living authentically is worth the effort. Similarly, someone who values creativity might carve out time each week to paint, write, or engage in other forms of artistic expression, even amidst a busy schedule. These acts of alignment, no matter how small, accumulate over time, creating a life that feels rich and meaningful. As you cultivate alignment with your values, you'll notice a ripple effect extending beyond yourself. When you live with integrity, you inspire others to do the same. Your authenticity becomes a beacon, encouraging those around you to embrace their own truths. This collective awakening fosters deeper connections, stronger communities, and a world that reflects greater compassion and understanding. Authenticity is contagious. It invites others to show up fully and unapologetically as themselves. Before we conclude this chapter, I invite you to take a moment to reflect. Close your eyes, place a hand over your heart, and ask yourself, what are my top 3 values? How am I currently expressing them in my life? Where might I need to make adjustments? Write down your answers and commit to taking at least one action today that aligns with your values. It could be something as simple as calling a loved one, dedicating time to a passion project, or practicing gratitude. Small, consistent actions add up to big changes over time. In addition to reflection, consider creating rituals that reinforce your values. Rituals are powerful anchors that remind you of what matters most. For example, if connection is one of your values, You might establish a weekly tradition of having coffee with a close friend. If mindfulness is a priority, you could dedicate 10 minutes each morning to meditation. Rituals don't have to be elaborate, they just need to be meaningful to you. Finally, remember that living authentically is a lifelong practice. It's not a destination, but a journey. There will be ups and downs, moments of clarity and confusion. Be patient with yourself and celebrate your progress along the way. Every choice you make that aligns with your values brings you closer to a life of purpose, fulfillment, and peace. In the next chapter, we'll delve into navigating change without fear, a natural extension of living authentically. Until then, carry this awareness with you. Let your values light your path, guiding you toward a life of purpose, fulfillment, and peace. Chapter 8. Navigating change without fear. Change is one of life's only constants, yet, for many of us, it remains one of the most daunting challenges we face. Whether it's a career shift, the end of a relationship, or simply the passage of time, change often brings uncertainty, and with it, fear. In this chapter, we'll explore how to navigate life's transitions with grace and courage, using mindfulness, Buddhist teachings, and practical strategies to transform fear into opportunity. At the heart of Buddhism lies the concept of anicca, or impermanence. Everything in life is transient: our emotions, relationships, careers, even our very existence. While this truth can initially feel unsettling, it also holds immense freedom. If nothing lasts forever, then clinging to the status quo becomes futile. Instead, we can learn to embrace change as a natural part of the human experience, a doorway to growth, renewal, and deeper understanding. But why does change provoke such strong reactions in us? The answer lies in our attachment to stability. Humans are wired to seek comfort and predictability, which makes sense from an evolutionary perspective. Stability ensures survival. However, in modern life, excessive attachment to what feels safe can stifle our potential and limit our ability to adapt. When faced with change, our minds often default to worst-case scenarios, creating anxiety about what might happen rather than focusing on what is happening right now. Mindfulness offers a powerful antidote to this tendency. By anchoring ourselves in the present moment, we can observe our thoughts and emotions without getting swept away by them. For example, when you notice fear arising during a period of transition, pause and ask yourself, is this fear based on reality, or am I projecting into the future? Often we find that much of our distress stems not from the change itself, but from our resistance to it. Mindfulness teaches us to meet change with curiosity instead of dread, softening our grip on outcomes and opening ourselves to new possibilities. One of the most profound lessons of impermanence is that endings are not failures, they're opportunities for beginnings. Think about it. Every sunset gives way to a sunrise. Every winter prepares the ground for spring. Similarly, every ending in your life clears space for something new to emerge. This doesn't mean dismissing grief or ignoring pain. It means acknowledging these emotions while trusting that they will pass, just like everything else. To cultivate resilience in the face of change, start by reframing your mindset. Instead of viewing change as a threat, see it as an invitation to grow. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this situation? How might this challenge help me become stronger or wiser? Shifting your perspective in this way transforms fear into excitement, empowering you to approach transitions with confidence rather than trepidation. Another helpful practice is to focus on what you can control. During times of upheaval, it's easy to feel powerless, but there are always aspects of your life within your influence: your attitude, your effort, your response to circumstances. By directing your energy toward these areas, you regain a sense of agency and purpose. For instance, if you're starting a new job, concentrate on building relationships with colleagues or mastering new skills. If you're going through a breakup, prioritize self-care and reconnecting with activities that bring you joy. Small intentional actions build momentum, helping you move forward despite uncertainty. Of course, navigating change isn't just about mental shifts, it's also about emotional preparation. One effective tool is visualization. Before stepping into a major transition, take time to imagine yourself succeeding in the new chapter. Picture yourself thriving in your new role, adjusting to a different routine, or finding peace after loss. Visualization primes your brain for success, reducing anxiety and increasing your likelihood of positive outcomes. Pair this exercise with affirmations like, "I am capable of handling whatever comes my way," or "Change opens doors I didn't know existed." Another key aspect of embracing change is developing flexibility. Life rarely unfolds according to plan, and rigid expectations set us up for disappointment. Instead, adopt a mindset of openness and adaptability. Think of yourself as water flowing around rocks in a stream, sometimes gentle, sometimes forceful, but always moving forward. Flexibility allows you to pivot when necessary, seizing opportunities that arise unexpectedly. Let's delve deeper into some specific strategies for navigating common types of change. Career transitions, for example, are among the most stressful yet potentially rewarding experiences. If you're considering a job change, start by clarifying your values and goals. What kind of work fulfills you? What environment helps you thrive? Once you have clarity, break the process into manageable steps, updating your resume, networking, researching industries. Celebrate each milestone along the way, no matter how small, to maintain motivation and momentum. Relationship changes can be equally challenging. Whether it's the end of a partnership, the evolution of a friendship, or adapting to family dynamics, relationships require patience and communication. Practice active listening, truly hearing the other person's perspective without judgment. Express your own needs clearly and compassionately. Remember, relationships are living entities. They evolve over time, just like people do. Embrace the ebb and flow, knowing that connection deepens through shared vulnerability and mutual growth. Health-related changes, such as aging or recovering from illness, demand a unique form of resilience. Here, mindfulness and gratitude play crucial roles. Focus on what your body can do rather than dwelling on limitations. Incorporate practices like yoga, meditation, or journaling to nurture both physical and emotional well-being. Surround yourself with supportive people who uplift and inspire you. Above all, treat yourself with kindness, recognizing that healing takes time. Even global changes, such as societal shifts or environmental challenges, call for mindful navigation. While these issues may feel overwhelming, remember that collective progress begins with individual action. Educate yourself, advocate for causes you care about, and contribute in ways that align with your values. Small acts of service create ripples of impact, fostering hope and unity in uncertain times. Now, let's address the role of fear head-on. Fear is a natural response to the unknown, but it doesn't have to dictate your choices. Instead of suppressing fear, acknowledge it, name it, feel it. Then remind yourself that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's acting in spite of it. Draw strength from past experiences where you successfully navigated change. Reflect on those moments to reinforce your belief in your ability to adapt and thrive. Compassion is another vital ingredient in navigating change. Be gentle with yourself during difficult transitions. Allow room for mistakes, setbacks, and moments of doubt. Treat yourself as you would a dear friend, offering encouragement, patience, and unconditional support. Extend this compassion outward as well, recognizing that others may also be struggling with their own changes. Acts of kindness strengthen community bonds and remind us that we're never truly alone. Finally, don't underestimate the power of ritual in managing change. Rituals provide structure and meaning during turbulent times, grounding you in familiarity while honoring the new chapter ahead. For example, if you're moving to a new city, create a farewell ritual to say goodbye to your old home. A walk through familiar streets, writing a letter to leave behind, or hosting a gathering with friends. Similarly, mark the beginning of your new journey with intention. decorate your space thoughtfully, explore local landmarks, or set aside time for reflection. Rituals bridge the gap between endings and beginnings, easing the transition. Before we conclude this chapter, I invite you to pause and reflect. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and consider the following questions. What changes are currently unfolding in your life? How are you responding to them? What resources, internal or external, can you draw upon to navigate these transitions with greater ease? Write down your insights and identify one actionable step you can take today to embrace change more fully. It could be reaching out to someone for support, practicing mindfulness, or simply reminding yourself that impermanence is a gift, not a curse. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to overcome negative thought patterns, a critical skill for maintaining clarity and peace during times of change. Until then, carry this wisdom with you. Trust in your ability to adapt, grow, and flourish, no matter what life throws your way. Remember, change isn't something to fear, it's something to welcome with open arms. Chapter 9: Overcoming Negative Thought Patterns. Negative thought patterns are like weeds in a garden. They grow unnoticed until they choke out the beauty and vitality of our minds. These mental habits can distort reality, amplify stress, and hold us back from living fully. But here's the good news. Just as we can tend to a garden, we can also cultivate healthier ways of thinking. In this chapter, we'll explore how to identify, challenge, and transform negative thoughts using mindfulness, cognitive tools, and compassionate self-awareness. At their core, negative thought patterns arise from deeply ingrained beliefs about ourselves, others, and the world. Psychologists refer to these as cognitive distortions, irrational or exaggerated ways of thinking that skew our perception of reality. Common examples include all or nothing thinking, if I don't get this promotion, I'm a failure; overgeneralization, I always mess things up; catastrophizing, this one mistake will ruin everything; and personalization, it's my fault when things go wrong. While these thoughts may feel true in the moment, they rarely reflect objective truth. Instead, they stem from fear, past experiences, or unmet needs. Mindfulness provides a powerful framework for addressing negative thought patterns. By observing our thoughts without judgment, we create space between ourselves and the stories our minds tell. Imagine your thoughts as clouds passing across the sky. They come and go, but they don't define the sky itself. Similarly, your thoughts don't define who you are. They're simply mental events, not absolute facts. When you notice a negative thought arising, gently label it. This is worry, this is criticism, or this is doubt. Labeling helps distance you from the content of the thought, allowing you to respond rather than react impulsively. One of the most effective techniques for overcoming negative thought patterns is cognitive reframing. This involves identifying distorted thoughts and replacing them with more balanced, realistic alternatives. Let's walk through an example. Suppose you're preparing for a presentation at work and you think, I'll probably embarrass myself in front of everyone. First, examine the evidence. Have you ever given a successful presentation before? Are there aspects of your preparation that give you confidence? Next, consider alternative perspectives. Even if I make a mistake, people are likely focused on the overall message, not perfection. Finally, reframe the original thought. I've worked hard to prepare and I trust myself to handle whatever happens. Reframing takes practice, but the results are transformative. Over time, you'll find that challenging negative thoughts become second nature, creating a more positive and constructive inner dialogue. Journaling is an excellent tool for this process. Writing down your thoughts allows you to externalize them, making them easier to analyze and reframe. Try dedicating a few minutes each day to recording your thoughts, especially during stressful or emotionally charged moments. As you review your entries, look for recurring patterns and themes. Awareness is the first step toward change. Another powerful strategy is cultivating gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's abundant in your life, counteracting the negativity bias that often dominates our minds. Start by keeping a gratitude journal. Each evening, write down 3 things you're thankful for, no matter how small. It could be something as simple as a warm cup of tea, a kind word from a friend, or the beauty of a sunset. Over time, this practice trains your brain to seek out positivity, reducing the frequency and intensity of negative thoughts. Self-compassion is equally essential in overcoming negative thought patterns. Many of us are quick to criticize ourselves for perceived flaws or failures, yet we wouldn't dream of speaking to a loved one so harshly. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you'd offer a friend. When you catch yourself engaging in self-criticism, pause and ask, would I say this to someone I care about? If not, why am I saying it to myself? Replace harsh words with affirmations like, I'm doing my best and that's enough, or mistakes are part of learning and growth. Visualization can also help rewire negative thought patterns. Picture yourself succeeding in situations that typically trigger anxiety or doubt. For instance, if you struggle with social interactions, imagine yourself entering a room confidently, smiling, and engaging in meaningful conversations. Visualization primes your brain for success, reducing fear and increasing your likelihood of positive outcomes. Pair this exercise with affirmations like, I am capable and worthy, or I approach challenges with courage and grace. Let's delve deeper into specific types of negative thought patterns and how to address them. One common distortion is all or nothing thinking, where you see situations in black and white terms. To combat this, remind yourself of the grey areas, the middle ground between extremes. For example, instead of thinking, if I don't ace this test, I'm a failure, reframe it as, doing my best is valuable regardless of the outcome. Another frequent culprit is overgeneralization, where you draw sweeping conclusions based on isolated incidents. Challenge this pattern by seeking exceptions to the rule. If you think, I always fail at relationships, recall times when connections went well or lessons learned from past experiences. Reframe the thought, relationships take effort and I'm growing in my ability to connect. Catastrophizing, assuming the worst-case scenario, can paralyze us with fear. Counteract this by asking yourself, what's the likelihood of this actually happening? Even if it does, how will I cope? Often we realize that our fears are exaggerated and that we're more resilient than we give ourselves credit for. Finally, personalization, blaming yourself for events outside your control, is another insidious pattern. To overcome this, practice perspective taking. Ask, is this truly my responsibility, or am I taking on blame unnecessarily? Remind yourself that many factors contribute to any given situation and you're only one piece of the puzzle. In addition to these cognitive strategies, mindfulness meditation plays a crucial role in transforming negative thought patterns. Regular meditation strengthens the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for rational decision-making, while calming the amygdala, which governs fear and stress responses. Over time, this rewires your brain to default to calm, clear thinking rather than reactive negativity. Even 10 minutes a day can make a significant difference. Find a quiet space, sit comfortably, and focus on your breath. When thoughts arise, and they will, acknowledge them without judgment and return your attention to your breathing. Physical activity is another powerful antidote to negative thinking. Exercise releases endorphins, which boost mood and reduce stress. Whether it's yoga, running, dancing, or simply going for a walk, movement helps release pent-up tension and clears mental clutter. Pair physical activity with mindfulness by paying attention to the sensations in your body, the rhythm of your breath, the feeling of your feet hitting the ground, the stretch of your muscles. This dual focus enhances both physical and emotional well-being. Surrounding yourself with supportive influences is equally important. Negative thought patterns thrive in isolation, feeding off internalized beliefs and assumptions. Sharing your struggles with trusted friends, family members, or therapists provides fresh perspectives and validation. Sometimes simply hearing someone say, "That's not true, you're amazing," can break the spell of self-doubt. Seek out communities, online or offline, that align with your values and aspirations, fostering connection and mutual encouragement. Artistic expression offers another avenue for processing and releasing negativity. Painting, writing, playing music, or engaging in other creative pursuits allows you to channel emotions into tangible forms. Art doesn't have to be perfect. It's about expressing what's inside you, giving voice to feelings that might otherwise remain trapped. Over time, creativity becomes a form of healing, helping you rewrite your narrative in vibrant, hopeful colors. Now, let's address resistance, the natural pushback we often feel when trying to change entrenched habits. Resistance is normal. It signals that you're stepping outside your comfort zone. Instead of seeing it as a barrier, view it as proof that you're growing. Be patient with yourself. Transformation takes time, and setbacks are part of the journey. Celebrate small victories along the way, knowing that every step forward brings you closer to lasting change. Before we conclude this chapter, I invite you to pause and reflect. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and consider the following questions. What negative thought patterns dominate your mind? How do they affect your emotions and actions? What steps can you take today to challenge and reframe those thoughts? Write down your insights and commit to one concrete action, whether it's journaling, meditating, practicing gratitude, or reaching out for support. Remember, you have the power to reshape your inner landscape one thought at a time. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to integrate all these practices into your daily life, creating sustainable habits that nurture your mind, body, and spirit. Until then, carry this awareness with you. Trust in your ability to overcome negativity and embrace the light within you. Chapter 10: Integrating these practices into everyday life. Congratulations, you've made it to the final chapter of this journey. By now you've explored profound concepts like non-attachment, compassion, authenticity, navigating change, and overcoming negative thought patterns. But here's the truth. Knowledge alone isn't enough. The real magic happens when we take these insights off the page and weave them into the fabric of our daily lives. In this chapter, we'll delve deeply into how to integrate mindfulness, meditation, and Buddhist principles into your routine, creating sustainable habits that nurture your mind, body, and spirit. Let's start with a simple yet powerful idea. Transformation begins with small, consistent actions. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. In fact, trying to do so often leads to overwhelm and burnout. Instead, focus on incremental changes, tiny shifts that add up over time. For example, instead of committing to an hour of meditation every day, which might feel daunting, begin with just 5 minutes. Sit quietly, breathe deeply, and notice how your body feels. Over weeks and months, you can gradually increase the duration as the practice becomes second nature. Small steps build momentum, making lasting change achievable. One of the most accessible ways to bring mindfulness into your day is through anchor moments. Anchor moments are routine activities that serve as reminders to pause and reconnect with the present moment. It could be brushing your teeth, brewing your morning coffee, or waiting at a red light. During these moments, tune into your senses. What do you see, hear, smell, taste, or feel? This simple act grounds you in the here and now, breaking the cycle of autopilot living. Over time, anchor moments create a rhythm of awareness throughout your day. Another practical strategy is to incorporate mindfulness into everyday tasks. For instance, washing dishes doesn't have to be a chore. It can become a meditative practice. Feel the warmth of the water on your hands. Notice the texture of the soap bubbles. Listen to the sound of running water. Similarly, folding laundry can be an opportunity to slow down and appreciate the simplicity of the task. When you approach mundane activities with presence, they transform from burdens into blessings. Now, let's talk about integrating meditation into your life. If sitting still feels challenging, remember that meditation doesn't require perfection. It's about showing up consistently. Start by finding a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. As thoughts arise, and they will, Gently acknowledge them without judgment and return your attention to your breathing. Over time, this practice trains your mind to stay calm and centered, even amid chaos. If traditional seated meditation feels inaccessible, try alternative forms like walking meditation. Simply walk slowly and deliberately, paying attention to each step. Notice how your foot touches the ground, the rhythm of your movement and the sensations in your body. Walking meditation is particularly helpful for those who find it difficult to sit still, offering a dynamic way to cultivate mindfulness. Journaling is another invaluable tool for integration. Each day, set aside a few minutes to reflect on your experiences, emotions, and insights. Write freely without worrying about grammar or structure. Journaling helps clarify your thoughts, process emotions, and track your progress over time. Consider using prompts to guide your writing, such as, "What am I grateful for today? What challenges did I face and how did I respond?" Or, "What values guided my actions?" Gratitude practices are especially potent for fostering positivity and resilience. Beyond keeping a gratitude journal, look for opportunities to express appreciation outwardly. Tell a loved one why you're thankful for them. Leave a kind note for a colleague. Smile at a stranger. Acts of gratitude ripple outward, enriching both your life and the lives of others. Self-compassion should also remain a cornerstone of your daily practice. Too often, we hold ourselves to impossibly high standards, berating ourselves for perceived shortcomings. Counteract this tendency by treating yourself with kindness and understanding. Place a hand on your heart during moments of stress and silently say, "I'm doing my best and that's enough." Repeat affirmations like, "I deserve love and care," or "Mistakes are part of growth." These small gestures reinforce self-worth and soften the inner critic. Boundaries play a crucial role in maintaining balance and alignment with your values. Learn to say no to activities or commitments that drain your energy or conflict with your priorities. Saying no isn't selfish. It's essential for protecting your well-being and ensuring you have the capacity to say yes to what truly matters. Practice setting boundaries with clarity and compassion, communicating your needs openly and respectfully. Rituals are another powerful way to infuse mindfulness into your life. Create intentional routines that honor transitions between different parts of your day. For example, begin each morning with a grounding ritual. Stretch your body, write down 3 things you're grateful for, or recite a meaningful affirmation. Similarly, end your day with a wind-down routine. Dim the lights, sip herbal tea, or read a few pages of an inspiring book. Rituals provide structure and meaning, helping you navigate life's ebb and flow with grace. When it comes to cultivating compassion, look for opportunities to extend kindness to others. Hold the door for a stranger, offer a listening ear to a friend in need, smile at someone who looks like they could use a boost. These seemingly insignificant gestures have the power to brighten someone's day, and yours as well. Loving kindness meditation remains a cornerstone of compassion practice. Regularly dedicate time to sending wishes of peace, health, and happiness to yourself and others, expanding your circle of care over time. Navigating change requires ongoing effort and adaptability. Continue practicing flexibility, reframing challenges as opportunities for growth, and embracing impermanence as a natural part of life. Visualize yourself succeeding in new chapters, drawing strength from past experiences where you successfully adapted to transitions. Surround yourself with supportive people who uplift and inspire you, reinforcing your belief in your ability to thrive. Overcoming negative thought patterns demands vigilance and patience. Keep challenging distorted thinking by identifying evidence, considering alternatives, and reframing unhelpful thoughts. Use journaling, visualization, and affirmations to rewire your mindset, replacing fear and doubt with confidence and hope. Remember, progress takes time. Celebrate small victories along the way. Physical activity is another key component of holistic well-being. Whether it's yoga, running, dancing, or simply taking a walk in nature, movement helps release tension and clear mental clutter. Pair physical activity with mindfulness by focusing on bodily sensations, the rhythm of your breath, the feeling of your muscles stretching, the sound of birdsong around you. This dual focus enhances both physical and emotional health. Artistic expression offers a creative outlet for processing emotions and nurturing your spirit. Paint, write poetry, play music, or engage in any form of art that resonates with you. Don't worry about perfection. The goal is to channel your inner world into tangible forms, giving voice to feelings that might otherwise remain trapped. Over time, creativity becomes a source of healing and joy. Finally, surround yourself with beauty and inspiration. Fill your environment with objects that spark joy: plants, candles, artwork, or photographs of loved ones. Spend time in nature whenever possible, soaking in its restorative energy. Curate playlists of uplifting music or podcasts that align with your values. Your surroundings shape your mindset, so design them intentionally to support your growth. Before we conclude this chapter, I invite you to pause and reflect. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, how can I integrate these practices into my daily life in meaningful ways? What specific actions will I commit to today, tomorrow, and beyond? Write down your intentions and revisit them regularly to stay accountable. Trust that every effort counts, no matter how small. As we wrap up this exploration, I want to leave you with this thought. Mindfulness isn't limited to formal practices, it's a way of being. It's choosing to show up fully, moment by moment, with curiosity, compassion, and courage. By weaving these principles into your life, you create a foundation for lasting peace, joy, and fulfillment. Thank you for joining me on this journey. May you walk gently, live fully, and embrace the art of letting go. As we bring this journey to a close, I want to leave you with one final thought. Life becomes richer when we stop trying to control everything and start trusting the beauty of the unknown. Yes, challenges will arise, but so will opportunities for growth, connection, and joy. The practices we've explored, mindfulness, meditation, compassion, authenticity, navigating change, and overcoming negativity, are not just tools, they're pathways to a deeper, more meaningful existence. Throughout this video, we've uncovered how embracing the philosophy of acting as if nothing matters can transform your life. But let me remind you, this doesn't mean indifference or apathy. It means releasing the need to cling tightly to outcomes, allowing yourself to flow with life's currents instead of fighting against them. When you act with intention while letting go of attachment to results, you discover freedom, a lightness of being that makes every moment feel more alive. Remember, mindfulness isn't something you do once in a while, it's a way of living. It's choosing to be present, even in the midst of chaos. It's finding calm within yourself, no matter what storms rage outside. And it's trusting that you have the resilience to face whatever comes your way. These practices are seeds. Plant them consistently, nurture them with patience and care, and watch as they grow into a garden of peace and clarity. If there's one thing I hope you take away from this exploration, it's this. You already possess everything you need to live a fulfilling life. The answers aren't out there somewhere, they're within you, waiting to be uncovered through stillness, reflection, and action. Trust yourself, trust the process, and trust that every step you take toward greater awareness brings you closer to the person you're meant to be. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Your presence here means the world. It's a testament to your desire to grow, learn, and evolve. If you found value in this video, please consider subscribing and sharing it with others who might benefit. Together we can create ripples of positivity, helping more people find their way to calmness, clarity, and connection. And remember, the next time you feel overwhelmed, pause, breathe, and remind yourself that you have the power to choose how you respond to life's twists and turns. You are stronger than you think, braver than you believe, and wiser than you know. Every effort counts, no matter how small. Celebrate your progress, honor your struggles, and keep moving forward, one mindful step at a time. Until next time, may you walk gently, live fully, and embrace the art of letting go.